Human civilization is going through a dramatic transformation in the 21st century. Self-driving electric cars, high-speed travel in Hyperloop, drone-based delivery systems, colonizing Mars to become interplanetary species. The life in the West, specifically America, is going to change multifold in a couple of decades. They seem to have a plan to race ahead in terms of advancements in the society and life in general. Meanwhile, urban life in Indian cities have become bad to worse. In spite of the urban development that we experienced in the last decade, the gap between West and us has only increased multifold. There is a lot to catch up with the world, and no matter how fast we run, we might still be left behind. Every major Indian city grapples with formidable traffic jams in both peak and non-peak hours. There is no sign of relief from traffic or pollution in spite of huge investments on building roads, flyovers, underpasses, and public transport infrastructure like metro rail. The number of private vehicles in Delhi crossed 10 million in 2017. 7 million private vehicles ply on roads in Bangalore in spite of having metro and public bus services. The average traffic speed across Indian cities is between 8 to 20 kilometers per hour. Commute time of more than an hour by private or public transport has become the new norm in these big cities. Public transport has not yet proven to be a viable and cost-effective solution to reduce traffic and commute time in any megacity in India. This is mainly due to lack of last-mile connectivity, holistic multimodal transport, inefficient town planning, and pedestrian-killing roads and traffic. It is estimated that Delhi incurs a loss of 60,000 crore rupees per year due to traffic congestion. The loss on Indian roads is not only financial but also affects our productivity, health, safety, and personal and social lives. Official data by government shows that more than 150,000 people lost their lives in road accidents in 2016, which is a staggering 17 deaths per hour, and nobody is held responsible or accountable. Apathy, irresponsibility, and negligence of municipalities costs both lives and money. And it is very stressful to drive in this crazy chaotic traffic with non-stop ear-piercing cacophony of honks, unruly driving, dust, pollution, and pothole-filled roads. We are not doing great in terms of water either. Every big city in modern India, like Hyderabad and Bangalore, has water problems in most areas. The water supply within municipality limits in cities is irregular and not available in all suburban areas. The water tanker mafia monetize this scarcity and exploit this opportunity in summers. As per a recent news article by BBC, Bangalore is second in the list of cities that is expected to run out of water in few years. It's 21st century, and even today we can't ever dare to drink water straight from kitchen taps. Let's not even get started about the garbage disposal problems we face in these megacities. Recent example is Bangalore, where it wanted to dump its garbage near a village. This is insane. It's like dumping your shit in your neighbor's backyard. Big cities like Delhi, for example, generates approximately 10,000 tons of waste every day and have no concrete environment-friendly plans to manage it. Plastics and other non-degradable waste make their way into the landfills and causes irreversible pollution of land and environment. We have a big responsibility towards protecting the environment, but have failed miserably, specifically in these big cities. And how can we forget the great floods of Mumbai? The financial capital of India submerged in knee-deep waters. How can that happen? Unbelievable. It only took the blessings of rain gods to bring the financial capital of our country to a complete halt. Water can never be or ever should be a threat to mankind. It is supposed to nourish and nurture life, not destroy it. And yet, on that day, we became slaves of water because of our own wrongdoings. Monsoon flooding is also common in other cities like Chennai, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Delhi, the capital of India that we all love, had to take a day's break to breathe. It was shut down for a few days due to heavy smog in winter, which is an annual phenomenon. The PM 2.5 levels in many parts of Delhi crossed the danger mark. People of Delhi are living in a big gas chamber and dying a slow death. The story is not very different, if not that extreme, in other cities of India. Air pollution in densely populated areas of big cities is quite common. It is estimated that in 2015, as many as 2.5 million people died because of pollution in our country, a figure that is highest in the world, according to the Lancet Commission on Pollution and Health. Well, let's accept it. Nobody can plan for the exponential growth that our cities have seen in the last couple of decades. And this problem is not unique to one city. Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Pune, it's the same story everywhere. Every major Indian metro city has similar problems of clogged drains, erratic water and power supply during summers, pollution, and hour-long commute times. The city governments try very hard to control this situation, but obviously it's just a patchwork. An underpass here and a flyover there won't fix these problems that are deep-rooted in bad design and lack of planning. To give an analogy, there is no solution to a badly designed and written software. A time comes when no amount of patches can fix the design and implementation flaws. That's when we have to take a tough call to redesign a new software from scratch. All the mega cities of modern India have reached that tipping point because of the gross design and execution flaws at such a massive scale at all levels. We need to redesign and rebuild our urban spaces. Just look around. Everything around us has changed in the last couple of decades. The standard of certain aspects of our lives have improved dramatically, like healthcare, education, the way you communicate with people, the way the social and political causes are fought on Twitter and Facebook, the ease at which you book tickets, transfer money, make payments, call a taxi, etc. But look at our urban chaos. That is still a problem unsolved. Why? Privatization. We think it's time to privatize municipalities and urban planning to improve the quality and standard of urban life in India. Recently, we have seen a rising trend of private and public greenfield cities in India, like Lavasa and Palava city in Maharashtra, Gift City and Dholera Smart City in Gujarat, Wave City near Ghaziabad, Naya Raipur in Chhattisgarh, Sri City in Andhra Pradesh, and Amravati, the new capital city of Andhra Pradesh. We think it's time India open-heartedly embraces the concept of private greenfield cities as one of our primary urban living spaces in the new India. Current Indian government started a mission to convert 100 cities to smart cities. Yes, they do solve one or two problems of some urban Indians. However, will it solve all the basic urban problems? Will it help in improving the quality of air we breathe or ensure water availability 24/7? Will it reduce the traffic and bring in discipline and rules on Indian roads like in the West? No. Will the cities remain smart even after 100 years? No. Okay, 50 years? No. 10 years? Maybe, we don't know. But will we able to afford the cost to fix every problem a city faces? Obviously not. Impossible. The cost of fixing a badly designed system at this massive scale is far more than building one from scratch. It is amazing to see what Europeans and Americans have managed to achieve in the last 400 years. How did they manage to neatly plan and build each and every inch of a city, build beautiful and clean public places and smooth roads, enforce common sense based driving rules and discipline the drivers? And yet there are times when people are stuck for hours in bad traffic pileup on highways. Something is not right there too. After all the investments made on infrastructure, if one has to spend 1 hour on an average in commute, was that investment worth it? What did all the investments in the city infrastructure achieve at the end? Nothing but increase the sales of cars and fuel demand. We must address the root cause of our urban problems permanently instead of a temporary workaround. The root cause of our urban crisis is unchecked population growth. Cities are complex man-made machines that generate economy. Any engineer or anyone with little common sense knows that a machine, a system, or a technology can only be designed and built to serve a maximum capacity. If the demand increases beyond a system's capacity, it is bound to collapse. Our cities have already crossed that tipping point. Well, our growth story really started after 1991 when we opened up our markets. We had a lot of legacy infrastructure as our assets that soon became a liability and prevented proper planning in cities and metros. This, coupled with a sudden surge in demand and growth in urban spaces, left the government municipalities helpless and in some instances were caught sleeping. Today, around 250 million Indians live in urban cities, and it is estimated that in the next couple of decades, this number will increase to more than 600 million. With uncertain future of American visa rules and the imminent threat of world war due to recent geopolitical turmoil, there is a good chance that hundreds of thousands of NRIs may return back to their relatively safer motherland. The question is, how do we plan to accommodate these tens of millions of people migrating to already failed cities? Are these cities prepared to handle the sudden surge in demand? Can these cities handle the surge in demand? Can they ever provide a reasonable quality of services to all its residents? Will the real estate be affordable to an average urban citizen? Maybe not. The worst part is that no government or urban local body seems to have any real plan to address this. They all are repeating the same mistakes that brought us to this state in the first place. A research paper by a professor in Delhi indicates that if we continue to urbanize the way we did so far and do nothing different, by 2051, more than 800 million people out of the total projected population of around 1.7 billion will be urbanized. And 230 million out of the 800 million urban residents will live in megacities with a population of more than a million. To accommodate this population, we would need more than 130 cities with million plus population, which will convert 12.2 million hectares of agricultural land for urban use. This in turn will reduce the cultivable land for producing food required to feed the 1.7 billion mouths. By 2051, the vehicular population on roads will be more than 300 million, almost 6 times more than today, which means we will need to build 6 times the road network in the megacities to accommodate this demand. These numbers are overwhelming and are not sustainable if we continue to urbanize the way we do today. The time has come for us Indians to come together and take collective responsibility to prevent this catastrophe in future. In order to meet our urban requirements in the future, we need to build greenfield urban habitats anyway. So why don't we grab this opportunity to start afresh and create a framework to build cities that avoids most of our urban, rural and social problems by addressing the root causes? Well, we are still a startup nation. Introducing Happicities. Crowd-funded, crowd-sourced, fixed-sized, access restricted, limited population, industry-focused, rural supported, future ready, self-sufficient, smart by default, green energy efficient, customer obsessed, service oriented, open sourced, walled microcities built from scratch by private companies on a land pooled by private or government. No, this is not yet another smart city project. Hell no. The term smart city has been abused and misused so much in the past that frankly we prefer not to be called one. In fact, we believe that smart city projects are needed to infuse some common sense in our dumb cities. Yes, you heard that right. Our cities are dumb and they have failed us, or maybe we failed them, perhaps a bit of both. Our definition of city is a smart by default energy efficient machine that generates economy. Happy cities are designed to be smart by default, so we don't need to explicitly call them smart city. Let us now look at how happy cities can benefit India and influence change at a larger scale. Mahatma Gandhi advised us to focus on villages to build a strong nation. Strong nation has to be built on the foundation of strong villages and farmers. This is common sense actually. When 70% of the nation's population are farmers, we need to make them stronger and self-reliant. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to give the farmers the quality of life they deserve. Moreover, the long distances from major markets makes them vulnerable to exploitation by middlemen and impacts their earnings. Our major economies are concentrated around a handful of cities which are the primary markets for farmers. If we build thousands of microcities throughout India in the next 100 years, we can bring urban markets and infrastructure closer to farmers, thereby eliminating the exploitation by middlemen and giving farmers a level playing field to earn more from their produce. Moreover, a reasonably well-to-do farmer can now at least have access to the world-class urban infrastructure like good schools, hospitals, restaurants, theatres and shopping malls. This will also motivate the next generation of young farmers to choose farming as a career option instead of migrating to cities in search of employment and hope for a better life, which they never get anyhow. Proximity to microcities will also give alternate employment opportunities to the farmers during non-productive seasons. Our goal is not only to stop excessive migration to these megacities, but also to create favorable conditions to encourage reverse migration to villages and thereby reduce the load on megacities. We want to bring urban life closer to villages and spur a local economy around it. Happy cities and happy villages around it will develop a symbiotic relationship between them. Villages will become a critical building block of the supply chain infrastructure required for daily essentials such as milk, eggs, poultry, meat, organic vegetables, fruits, flowers and labor to happy cities. We hope that agro-based industries will flourish in the villages surrounding happy cities. All these years, India has lost many intelligent brains to other nations of the world. We can't afford to lose smart people who have the potential to become next Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella to developed nations. We believe that a strong country and a strong economy can only be built by intellectuals and entrepreneurs. Preventing brain drain is an old and defensive strategy that is ineffective. We think it's time for us to adopt a more aggressive strategy of brain attract and retain. We want to provide the best urban life to the people who choose to stay back in India and contribute to the Indian economy and solve problems for India and the world. Well, this strategy seems to be working great for America anyway. So what is a happy city? Let's take a virtual tour to understand the design principles behind Happy City. Happy City is a walled microcity of fixed size, 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers, roughly about 9 square kilometers, built on a private or government land. We believe that instead of building one megacity, we must build a cluster of microcities that are connected with high-speed road and rail networks like Hyperloop or Metro Rail. The most important reason for a fixed-size microcity is the availability of water. Natural water sources like rivers and groundwater have a limited capacity to nourish life. We shouldn't be exploiting them beyond their capacity of sustaining life. Today, the mega cities of India get their water supplied from water sources that are usually located hundreds of kilometers away from the city. Government spends billions of rupees to build pipes and pump infrastructure to get the water from these water sources delivered to the city. This does not make any sense and is not a natural way of life. Instead, we strongly believe that the civilization should only flourish near the water bodies and only up to the capacity it can support. We hope to build happy cities near perennial sources of water so that the city never runs out of water and the cost and effort to get the water delivered to your doorsteps is low. Megacities was the need of 20th century economy. In 21st century, internet and e-commerce has literally brought the world closer, thereby eliminating the need of megacities for major economies to thrive. Today, a customer can transact with any trader in any part of the world. Schools, hospitals, retails and restaurants are local businesses anyway. then do we really need millions of people to live together in such close proximity for the economy to grow? Maybe not. Let's take a closer look at the major economies that could drive the microcities. A microcity can be built for a specific knowledge-based economy. For example, the high-tech industry consisting of Google, Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Flipkart and other technology-focused startups, or banking, finance and insurance industries such as SDFC, SBI, ICICI, stock exchanges, SEBI and other financial institutions, or information technology services like TCS, Infosys and Wipro, or artists, musicians and entertainers from Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood and other film industries, or high education institutes such as engineering and medical colleges and universities. In fact, a microcity can be built for any big knowledge industry that does not require setup of large and polluting factories. Education, healthcare, retail, restaurant and entertainment are the supporting economies of happy cities. We strongly believe that current principles behind building cities are wrong. Traditionally, cities grow organically in a large expanse of land with network of roads that interconnect every part of the city. This, however, does not help in reducing the commute time. Instead, it only helps oil and car companies to increase their revenues and profits. Cities today are designed and built for cars, not people. Apart from using renewable energies, we must also try to reduce the dependency on fuel altogether. That is the only long-term solution to energy crisis facing India and the rest of the world. We plan to address this by building small and fixed size microcities with mixed land use so that residents can walk to work. Walk to work is not a new concept, but we want to make it the core design principle of a microcity. Fixed size microcity means fixed population. By limiting both size and population, we can now design and build the infrastructure of the city that can handle a fixed maximum population and continue to remain smart, efficient and functional forever. Since the population is limited, we need to ration the people coming into the city by creating a permit system similar to the visa system of America. We hope that urban Indians would embrace this new concept of restricted access to the city, since they are quite familiar with the visa system required to work and live in America and other countries of the world. Anyone who has some business to do within the city limits, like work in a company as an employee or start a business, will be eligible and welcome to apply for a permit. You can now experience the benefits of an advanced urban civilization without leaving your country. How cool and convenient is that? There could be different types of permits suitable to the needs of residents. For example, temporary work and residence permit, business permit or guest permit, etc. Residents with temporary residency permits may not be able to purchase property in the city. Instead, they can only lease apartments for multiple years. This will reduce the financial burden of purchasing a property and make housing affordable. There is another reason why the ownership of an apartment needs to be decoupled from the residency. Imagine what would happen if after 50 years, the employees of a company retire and continue to live in Happy City. How would these companies hire fresh talent when